On this week's episode, we'll talk about new boxing bootcamp classes, as well as 2 new boxing instructors added to the platform.
And lots of new content for the German community, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 76 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show by the Peloton community for the Peloton community. I'm John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host, Amanda Siegel. Hey now, Amanda.
Hey, John. How are you?
Good.
Yeah,
another week. How are things? How are things in your neck of the woods?
Crazy. It just absolutely flies by. I don't know where the weeks go. I almost like when I woke up this morning and realized that we were, getting ready to tape the show. It was like, I'm not sure how that happened. The weeks just completely fly by. They really do. They really do. But we started out the morning not thinking that there was too much that we were going to be reporting on. And it actually seems like there was quite a bit that happened within a short period of time. So I think why don't we go ahead and get started with the news? As we do, what we always like to do though is remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
Yep, and if you want to listen to us in traditional podcast format, we are on all platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, hit subscribe, click notifications so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. We love to hear and read the positive reviews that we receive from you, and we love the feedback that we get as well.
Absolutely. And finally, folks, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So just search for Pelo Buddy, follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news, and that you never missed anything. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. So Peloton has announced a new format to their bootcamp classes. They just announced recently a boxing bootcamp. So they teased that their first boxing bootcamp classes would drop, which they did on March 29th. So far, I see a 20-minute full-body boxing bootcamp with Selena and a 30-minute upper-body boxing bootcamp with Rad, and also he's got a 45-minute boxing bootcamp in there as well. And they put out a little blog post with additional information. They said, if you're wondering what you're in for when tapping into one of these classes, think of it as a mix of our shadowboxing and strength classes wrapped into a structure designed to spike your heart rate during periods of more intense cardiovascular work. Bring it back down just a little bit while working in strength-focused blocks. They're going to be led by Rad and Selena. Like I mentioned, there's some classes already available in the on-demand library if you haven't caught them yet. And they're under the strength modality. I was actually looking myself on the app at first. I wasn't sure where they fell under. But as with other boot camps on the tread and bike, it'll alternate between the cardio and strength work. And this is the first boot camp format that doesn't require any cardio devices. Being the bike or the tread, that aspect of it. So if you're an app-only user, this is definitely something you don't need the Peloton bike or the Peloton tread for.
Yeah, I have to say, John, I think you're in the same boat that I'm in that I just haven't got into it. And, I guess that's why there's something for everybody. And
the people who do it, I mean, people love it. The ones that are really into it love it. So
yeah,
there's something for everyone. And who knows, maybe I'll check it out. With this more recent announcement, we've got a couple new additions to the boxing roster. Peloton has added 2 new instructors. So Jermaine Johnson and Becs were announced on Peloton's Instagram on the 28th. And the announcement said the Peloton boxing lineup just got stronger. Becs Gentry Jermaine Johnson are your new boxing instructors, and they're ready to throw some punches with you. You can find their first shadow boxing classes on demand now. Those are under the cardio modality. 6 new boxing classes dropped on demand that morning, along with 2 new post-boxing stretches. The drop includes a warm-up from both Becs and Jermaine, and either a 20 or 30-minute shadow boxing class. And if you don't know Becs and Jermaine, they both teach on the tread currently, and they do some strength instruction on the mat as well. And Jermaine, he's somewhat new to the Peloton platform. He joined, just this past September, working out of the London tread studio. I was actually really surprised. Becs is not the person I would think that would be doing boxing when I think of additional instructors that they would add.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting choice. Jermaine sounds, he sounds perfect.
But interestingly enough, I was absolutely floored that Bradley Rose wasn't in the lineup.
Yeah.
I can only assume maybe he has a non-compete with Rumble. Maybe there's some reason why, but I got to tell you, I was definitely, taken aback. And I wouldn't be surprised, as him being a little disappointed too, because there's definitely been some, chatter out there, chit-chats out there from members who are very disappointed, who have voiced, both on, the Pelo Buddy site when Chris, announced that this was happening, as well as on Bradley's page. People have said, when are you going to be boxing? And his comments were not on the cards for me, or, didn't make the cut, or, kind of some comments there. So very, very surprised, I must say. People are disappointed. Not to say that Becs and Jermaine won't be great, but I'm just saying that was somebody that I would have absolutely assumed would have been next, since he doesn't do anything else on the platform. It's not as if he's, doing anything else. So I would have been really, pleasantly surprised with him being there, but not pleasantly surprised. I would have been, he would have made sense at least with him being there. So yeah, interesting, hey? I
know. Very,
Guess we'll wait and see.
Maybe I don't know if there's trouble in paradise with Bradley, but he would always
think so.
He'd always make boxing, jabs in class. So it seemed like he was getting excited or getting amped up to be the next candidate, but who knows how that
incorporates it in all of his. I did a 10-minute arms with him, light weights and arms with him the other day. Always incorporates it, and interestingly enough, that's what actually made me realize that I just didn't enjoy it, and that was just on the tread doing it in a light arms, but it wasn't an exercise that I just feel like I could gel with easily. Just my own personal thing, as far as it goes. And
I don't. Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned the boxing movements in upper body arms tonings, and usually when they do that, I modify and I do I do hammer curls.
Me too. Oh my god, that's so funny. I do exactly the same thing.
Because I'm not into throwing punches.
Neither am I. Oh my god, John,
not my thing.
Funny. Okay, yeah. I'm right there with you. But as we said, there's something for everybody. So
exactly.
So moving on. What is going on behind the scenes with our Peloton instructors? First up, Sam Yo, in his pre-show from his 30 Minutes 80s ride on Tuesday the 29th, hinted that there is quite a lot going on behind the scenes, and that he wished that he could tell. He was actually quite schoolboyish about it, kind of saying, I hate keeping secrets, and I wish that I could tell. And you guys,
I saw that pre-show moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we definitely know. And he mentioned that there were like 3 things that were in the cards, that we need to look out for. So I don't know what they could be. He did share a reel though on his Instagram. The first reel that he shared was to the tunes of Weezer's "Island in the Sun," of him being kind of made up and photographed. And we got to see him, and I don't know if anyone else picked it up, but we got to see him barefoot on the mat. So could he be next up for yoga or meditation? Which I would not be surprised. I mean, there's no question, with his Buddhist and monk background, that could be something that I would imagine him to be amazing at. And certainly on his platforms, I've seen folks having said that in the past. That was kind of exciting. And I love it when they show us behind the scenes. And we did see some more. So Eric Yeager, German instructor, Ben and Leanne, at the time of recording, also had stuff on their social. Eric had posted a reel to the tunes of James Mercy's Philo Sophie with him in the streets of London. And he looked quite handsome and was definitely having a ton of fun. Ben posted a pic on his story being photographed, but didn't give away much more. He actually also gave us a nice glimpse of the London studio, though, with us now being able to see inside. He kind of did a screenshot of him kind of coming in to the studio, and it was really cool to see the glass that you can now see into the studio with a little security guard sitting there. So that was definitely exciting. And then Leanne also posted from a photo shoot. And I don't know, could she finally be getting a new modality on the platform? Or who knows? Maybe they're just getting new headshots done. Maybe they're doing material for homecoming. All I can tell you folks is that, if we hear anything, that we will be sure to share it with all of you first. But that was definitely, there is stuff going on, behind the scenes. Jess Sims has also been very busy. She posted on her social media, and she also spoke about it in a live bike bootcamp on Monday, that she will be doing 3 Jock James classes. She calls them a little mini series. And she said that after waiting 3 years, she's finally bringing it to the platform. She added that scrimmage pennies, high socks, and sweatbands are encouraged. There were 3 classes that were being dropped. The first of the trio of classes dropped on Friday with her Flash 15 at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. She then had her Saturday 60 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And then she had a 45-minute bike boot camp also on Saturday, which was at 12 noon. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with Jock James, they are primarily songs from the 80s and the 90s, and they can be classified as a mix of hip hop, dance, and house music. So maybe one or all of these classes will land up in next week's pick of the weeks. But I guess we will have to see how many Jock Jam enthusiasts are out there. So I haven't had an opportunity to take any yet, but we'll get to see. So that should be fun.
Jock Jams would be, to me, categorized as music that you would hear at the sporting events, at a basketball game or a hockey arena.
Okay.
Because back in the early 90s, ESPN put out a series of, I think there were CDs called Rock Jock Rock.
Okay.
And, we would play some of it in the locker room before games. It's just like, it's music that hypes you up.
Got it.
A lot of 90s music they played. Then. Yeah, it's funny though how so many people thought that was a tease at some sort of April Fool's prank.
Oh, okay.
Initially, a lot of people just thought it was, I don't know, maybe a little hokey, but yeah, I doubt it was I don't think it's an April Fool's, because she was like, I did that bike boot camp live, and she was all excited to to talk about it and make that announcement. So it didn't really seem very like there was a prank or something to it. So anyhow, so on Thursday the 31st, Peloton quietly canceled a lot of classes at the New York studio. The majority of classes that day were canceled. And it looks, after seeing a few different updates, the instructors were citing either technical difficulties or a team safety issue, but it looks like there appears to be some sort of fire outside the studio, possibly in the loading dock area. But Chris Lewis, I know on the Pelo Buddy social media channels, had posted a picture of a garbage truck and some sort of fire emanating from it or around it. So that appears to be the culprit of the class cancellations. Because I know, Cody had a boot camp that I was super excited to do. There was an Emma ride. That totally threw off my day. So
Manny
Olivia
had his 365. He had his 365. There were a lot of 365 classes.
There was a hike
365s that were dropping.
There was a Kirsten hike that Jackie was all excited to do that morning.
Yeah, me too.
However, Olivia did manage. She was subbing at 6 a.m. Olivia Amato. She taught a 30-minute ride that morning. That went okay, but then after that, everything started to get canceled. The cancellation emails.
Yeah.
Folks started to receive that had added those various classes to their schedule. So
I do like that they do that. I really do like that they send out those emails, because you kind of can prepare, and they seem to have done them with enough warning. So that was kind of good.
Yeah. So the several of the special part of Transgender Day of Visibility, TDoV, 2 of those classes were canceled. One was rescheduled from 11:30 a.m. To 6 p.m. Eastern that day. So, a little bit of a bummer. But like I mentioned, there's Thursday, they posted for Pride 365, the TDoV day in support of transgender and non-binary communities. There's several classes, 5 of them. There's 2 with Ross Rayburn. There's a 20-minute hike, a 20-minute walk with Jocelyn Thompson Rule, and a 30-minute ride with Jess King. I would think by now they've all taken place from being rescheduled, so they should be in the on-demand library at this point. But check them out. I know I was going to do the one with Jocelyn, and I ended up taking a nap that day. Did you do it?
I did do it. And unfortunately, I had already picked my picks of the week. So I didn't include it, but I got to tell you, she's amazing. I thought it was fantastic. Apparently she has been very involved in the transgender and non-binary communities in the UK, as far as, her movement. She was very involved in movement and figuring out. And I, it was really heartwarming to hear how she, expressed being a woman and being able to go into a gym and checking off the box to say that I'm female and I know where I need to go, as far as going to the change rooms and bathrooms, etc. And how, we needed to make more awareness and have that more out there. And my understanding actually is one of the reasons, the London studio were delayed was because they were including, non-binary restrooms in the studio, so that there would be no issues for anybody needing,
or
gender
neutral.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I have to say it was a beautiful 20-minute walk. She picked some, great artists who are in the community, and I hadn't heard of any of them, interestingly enough, but the music was great. And I actually got a PR on that walk. So I was quite psyched with myself. Yeah, I really felt like I needed to move. So it was awesome.
Good for you. Well, we had 3. On Thursday, Peloton announced 3 new artist series that all premiered on demand. So they're in the library now, but they all premiered at the same time at 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday, April 1st. We had a Anna Greenberg Glass Animals Pilates class, an Anna Frankson Jazmine Sullivan ride, and a Robin Arzon Lil Nas X run. Lil Nas X is the only one I'm familiar with. The other two artists, I don't recognize those names, but they're on there now. They just, quietly sort of announced that on Thursday, and just premiered them on demand. All Grammy nominated, according to the. Well, I know Lil Nas X, yeah. And the Grammys are
tonight,
Sunday.
So
thank you, Control Room.
Tonight.
Yes.
So okay, so I guess that's why they kind of wanted to throw those in. That's cool. Okay, yeah, I wasn't familiar.
Lots of content
those either. Yeah, I wasn't familiar. Well, switching gears for our German community. First up, for the running members out there, this is actually huge. This past Thursday, 6 new German language outdoor walks and runs were dropped, featuring Marcel, Tobias, and Jeffrey. There are 2 beginner runs, a 30-minute hit with Tobias and a 20-minute intervals run with Marcel. There are 3 20-minute runs, a 90s run with Marcel, and a pop and house with Jeffrey. And then lastly, Tobias dropped a 20-minute power walk. So hopefully with spring just around the corner, you folks can get out and enjoy your favorite instructors in the fresh air. It was nice to see those, and they dropped them all on Thursday in the outdoor category for folks to use. There was also
And speaking of Jeffrey, he messaged me over last weekend, and he said he got his bike, and he was asking me what ride I was doing that Sunday, because he wanted to hop on for a ride. And he sent me a voice memo. He goes, "You got to get my last name right." So apparently I have a little mispronunciation.
Did you see that I left it out there, John? I left the last names
of course,
out because I figured I've been butchering them even with Benny's help. So I just figured, you know what? Everybody knows who Marcel, Tobias, and Jeffrey are. There's no last names. There are 2 Marcels. You're right. There was a Marcel, right? Yeah. But I guess in the control room's telling me, and of course there's Marcel Dinkins in the US.
Marcel Maurer. That's an easy one. Marcel Maurer and Benny.
Tobias Hines. But I couldn't say 2 of them and not Jeffrey's. All right. So tell us, have you got it down?
So Jeffrey's last name is McEachern. So you have to say each. McEachern.
All right.
McEachern.
All right.
Hopefully, I didn't re-review the voice memo from him, but he did stress that you say each in there in sort of the middle part of the pronunciation.
Too funny.
Jeffrey McEachern.
Yeah. All right. Well, there. I apologize, Jeffrey. I'm glad you watched the show and you see that we mess it up. That's always good. Yeah, John, and adding on to that, not only are those 6 runs in the outdoor program, but they also have dropped for the German community the Now You Can Run program that we've had in the English English library. But Marcel and Tobias are the instructors that are coaching those. It's an 8-week program, 2 classes per week. And it is the same way where it's kind of locked, and you really should go in from the beginning and work your way through the entire program. So that's really cool that there's that to do as well as.
Is that indoors?
Runs. No, it is outdoors, John.
Just outdoors. Okay, just checking.
Yeah, it's an outdoors program. But yeah, so they're getting some
cool
traction there, and I guess tons of German folks were looking for that. So I'm sure that's great. And yeah, there's more news in the German community. There was an initiative this past week for hotels in Germany to get a 100-day risk-free trial through the end of April. So I guess trying to get folks to be able to utilize the bikes. I believe it's just the bikes in hotels. And then lastly, a huge congrats to our sometimes guest host, Jules Katharina, on her recent engagement. So wanted to just give Jules a shout out. We are so thrilled for you and excited, and what a romantic way up on the mountains to be proposed to. But we're so thrilled for you, and we just wanted to give you a shout out and say congratulations. So,
congrats. Yeah. Oh, and we have a little spring apparel drop.
We do.
A little mini drop.
You're quite right. Just with one little floral outfit.
That come out Wednesday. This
Thursday
past Wednesday,
morning,
I think.
No, I think
Thursday
it was
morning.
either Wednesday. Thursday morning.
Wednesday. Yeah, I was
Thursday
right.
morning. All right.
I was right.
So,
but yeah, I didn't really see any men's stuff there. I mean, I was checking the site the night before, and it seemed like all the same men's stuff that was there Tuesday night that was there Wednesday morning. So
okay.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything new added for the menswear.
I did actually like it. I must be honest. I did actually like that outfit, but I haven't bought it yet. I think maybe this one I'm going to wait and see if it goes on sale and then buy it on sale. How about that?
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the nice Dream Blend stuff to go on sale, which is probably not. So I can pick up another zip up hoodie.
The hoodie was on sale,
hoodie has
right?
not gone on. No, the Dream Blend hoodie has not gone on sale.
What did I buy? I bought
maybe a shirt.
Marco Aaron something. There was something that went on, but I did buy something, but maybe the hoodie hasn't. Yeah. I know it's the best. I love it. Maybe
a homecoming apparel sell. Yeah.
Maybe. Hey, something to look forward to.
We'll see.
And I guess,
around the
John,
corner.
that pretty much wraps up the news. There wasn't too many exciting things happening. It was just a few, but there were some exciting things in the instructor in the news. So you, you go for it, John.
First up, Selena Samuela is now off the market. She is married to her longtime boyfriend, tech CEO Matt Virtue. They got married last Saturday, the 26th, down in Florida at the Lost Tree Chapel. And People Magazine got the exclusive pictures and all the deets on the event on the wedding day. They walked down the aisle to music by the Stradivarius Chamber Ensemble with Selena stunning in a hand-beaded gown by Santos Costura. Not heard of that designer, but she looked beautiful, the dress. And after making their vows, they headed over to the reception at the Lost Tree Club. Was it in Palm Beach?
Palm Beach. Yeah.
Palm Beach, yep. To dine, dance. I had a lot of fun enjoying the instructors' stories. And we have a link to the People article. It's basically like a plug for everyone, from the DJ to the food to the J paper stationery for the wedding invitation. So it's like a nice big advertisement for all those different companies and vendors that Selena used. But it did have some nice, professional pictures in there sprinkled. But I really enjoyed the photos just from the weekend of all the instructors just letting loose and, getting goofy on Instagram. I especially loved a lot of Daniel McKenna's because he definitely knows how to have a good time and get everybody to horse around with him. So that was a lot of fun. I also, one of the other big reveals was, I think a lot of people first noticed Matt Wilper's girlfriend for the first time in some of the pictures, which she has not really been publicly seen or identified. And one of our friends, Gloria, Chased by Shadows, made a funny reel where she showed a picture that Matt Wilpers had shared with a group of them, and Matt's girlfriend is off to the side, but she's sort of cropped out. And then she cuts to Daniel McKenna's story with the picture of the girlfriend fully in the photo, and something to the effect it was captioned by like, and your secret girlfriend is exposed by a drunken Irishman. So that was kind of funny.
It was funny. Yeah, it was fantastic to get to see. And I loved how they all shared, right from the Friday night, the rehearsal dinner and everyone having gone down and their weekend down there. It was really nice to see Chase Tucker. He was there.
Yeah. Chase was there.
That was kind of cool. I always wonder, I guess you can't invite everybody, but I always do wonder, how they've created their friend groups, and there were some people that were obviously left out. And I was always curious to know how that happens, who's part of it and who's not. So it was interesting to see, but they all seemed pretty friendly.
Yeah.
The ones that were there definitely seemed pretty friendly, and it was really fun to see. Well, moving on. I guess last week we were.
We don't have to do any more speculating.
No, but we did record just a little bit too early last week because the news of what Ali Love was going to be doing in London dropped right after. But now, of course, the cat is out of the bag, and Ali will be the host of a new Netflix dance competition series called Dance 100. So it's a street dance competition which is designed to find the next superstar choreographer. There is 8 contestants who will need to create, choreograph, design, and then perform in group dance numbers. The news was first reported by Deadline.com, which Ali then went ahead and shared shortly after on her Instagram. She did go on to say, and I'm going to go ahead and quote, she said, "So thrilled and honored to be spending the next 6 weeks in London as the host of Netflix upcoming series Dance 100. To say that this is a pinch me moment would be an understatement. Can't wait to work with the team of incredibly talented people, and can't wait even more so for you all to see the finished product. To everyone who believed in me along the way and opened the doors to this amazing opportunity, all I have to say is thank you. You are appreciated more than you know. Dancers, choreographers, Netflix, Studio Lambert, let's do this." So Ali has shared that while she will not be teaching in the Peloton London studio, she will be flying back to New York periodically to teach live classes. And I assume spend some time with her husband, Andrew, which I'm very concerned about the fact that she's in London and he's here and they're newly married, but hopefully that'll give her time to spend with him. And for now, Ali's classes have actually all been encore ones, but for all you Ali diehards out there are 2 live classes on the schedule. There's one on Sunday, April 10th, which is a 30-minute feel-good ride. And then on Tuesday, April 12th, she has her 45-minute intervals and arms ride. So we did see 2 that are in fact live that she'll obviously come back for. And, it was so lovely to see her having gone into the studio and getting to meet everybody. I didn't see any formal cocktail party like they did for Cody when Cody was there, but I think Cody's purpose was maybe more for Peloton. I'm sure he was probably there for work.
Yeah, he was there just to hang out with them.
But it was lovely to see. It was lovely to see Jocelyn, Jermaine, and John had gone to breakfast with her, and John spoke about it on his past walks this past week, and Jermaine spoke about it on his. So it was nice. And then, of course, Ben and Leanne had her. They met up and they got to have a coffee with her. So I'm sure she'll be popping in periodically into the studio to say hi. And get to be a part of the community for a little bit. So that was fun to see.
Well, I don't know when. Do we have any idea when the show is going to air?
I don't know.
I guess it's a few months. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Dance 100.
I think
show,
it's new.
so.
I think it's a brand new Netflix. I think from what I read, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a brand new show. And my thought is that it's probably going to be taped and then released that way. So I don't think it'll be a live show.
Right.
Is my understanding. I
didn't know if we had
but good for her. What an
timeline.
What an amazing experience. Interesting that it's being done in London, being Netflix, and she's not a judge; she's a host. So that's
okay. The MC.
Yeah, she's not a judge. I know. I think last.
Well, that's familiar. That's familiar. That's familiar territory for her.
Of course. Yep. With the Nets. Yeah. So
I'm sure she'll be a natural. Well, one last bit of instructor in the news. Kendall was recently on the Hurdle podcast, episode 199. And she talked a lot. I listened to most of it, and it was really interesting, especially when, growing up with different struggles with anxiety, depression, with OCD. She touched on briefly her, it started out with the host asked her, when was the last time you felt knocked out, because of her tagline that she says, they can knock you out, but they can never knock you down. She talked a little bit about her breakup back in November, how that, she felt, knocked out from that. And it was, somewhat public, her breakup with her boyfriend, Joe. And then she talked about around age 8 or 9, she was diagnosed with OCD. And she talked about how she had this thing. She always had to have clean feet. She always had to wear socks. She felt like she could never be barefoot around the house. She went to therapy. She started doing acting as a kid. And she, had struggles with feeling suicidal as a teen. And she eventually was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And then she talked a lot about her premiere ride when she was getting ready to debut at Peloton, and how she was kind of, stressed out a little bit about it. And she said that Cody sort of calmed her nerves and said that we hired you to be you. We didn't hire you to be someone else to fill, that space. So that, I guess, took a huge weight off of her to just, to be herself, who she is, on the platform. But it was a really good one, actually. I really enjoyed, especially a lot of, the stuff growing up. She was born in Houston, lived there for a couple of years. Then her family moved to Atlanta and then to California. She was homeschooled before she went to USC to college. And it was a good one. Definitely check that out. We have a link to it on pelobuddy.com. But that was one of the more
and a lot of
enjoyable
information. Yeah, but a lot of different, different stuff than what we'd heard in the past with her,
because
history of depression and
a lot of the interviews that you hear or read, it can be a lot of the same like recycled stuff that the instructors have, said a lot in interviews. But this one seemed, pretty fresh. A lot of stuff that I didn't know about, when she was young, when she was a kid, with her struggles. So definitely check that one out. It was about an hour.
Okay.
It's about an hour long.
Definitely want to grab that one. I haven't had a listen to it yet, so I definitely want to take a listen to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we have any birthdays this week, or I don't think we missed any.
I believe we do.
It's a birthday free week.
Birthday free week. So I guess we'll go right into picks of the week. You want me to fire it away? I am going to go ahead and fire it away. All right. So I thought that last week would have been my last week to give our friend Benny a shout out. But John, I did his 60-minute house ride on, it was on the 25th. So it was last Friday at 12:30 p.m.
I was there live.
And you were there live. You got 2 shout outs.
I got a couple shout outs.
But I got to tell you, I very, very rarely will do a full 60-minute ride. The thought of doing a 60-minute ride in full German language was definitely a little intimidating when I got on the bike. I have to tell you, that was one of the most awesome rides. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Music is magic. And if the music is good and you can relate to the music, it really doesn't matter. And, we're seasoned riders, language. So we don't, right? But we're seasoned riders, so we don't really need to get the cues from the instructor. I kind of do my own thing a lot of the time anyway. So it didn't really matter for me. I just wanted to support him, and quite a few of, friends jumped on. So it was fun to ride with them. It was incredible. So folks, if you are looking for somebody, and I'm really excited because I've been getting tons of messages from community members who watch the show or have seen my stories on Instagram and have said, thank you for sharing Benny with us. And I don't know if you do this, but I actually send him the screenshots and I'm going, Benny, I'm your, American cheerleader here, because I think it's really important for them to feel, that level of, especially when they're new, that level of, wow, it's not just the German community that are behind me. I've got the English and American community as well. But he gives 150% in his rides, right? I mean, he is just
definitely
incredible. So good for him. And I felt like that was one I just couldn't miss, especially because it's a 60 and there aren't that many 60s. So 100% a shout out and a pick of the week for me.
It was a house ride. Okay. Yeah. Cause he was asking me for, I don't know house music that well, but, I did give him one song that I really loved that, and I have to give full credit to DJ John Michael because I heard him play it one time before the start of a live DJ ride with Cody. And it's a Donna Summer remix of MacArthur Park, which is a great Donna Summer song. But this one, that's what Benny played in the ride. And it's I think it's a 10 minute or so remix. Yes. Yeah. But I have that on my Amazon Music playlist, and it's a great remix. Whatever, I forget which remix it is, but it was great during the ride, and it's a long track, so it was perfect for a 60-minute class.
Yeah, I don't know. Those 60 minutes flew by. I mean, my numbers weren't fantastic, but it was just a great ride. It was an awesome ride. And then moving on to the tread. Yeah, I got to do it. John Husking did a 30-minute power walk on the 29th. So that was on Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
I did that one. I did that on Wednesday.
You did it did you do it live?
Yeah.
Or did you do
it? No, I did it.
I think you did it.
I did it because my best friend, my best friend Corey did it. My best friend Corey in New Jersey, who got the Peloton tread back last year, he really likes John Hosking, and he said, "Oh, you got to check out this power walk." He did some funny dance, some funny moves in there. So I did it. Did it Wednesday.
I mean, while the music was insanely good, and he played some of my absolute favorites, he had Coldplay's Viva La Vida, to The Killers, When You Were Young, to David Guetta's Every Time We Touch, Run DMC's It's Like That. But what absolutely gets me about John, which I love, is his ability to turn the tread into a story. And I've spoken about this before. He's taken us to Cape Town. He's taken us to, which of course, was just amazing for me. He's taken us to the Greek Isles. He finds something to do. And what he did with this particular walk was the day before, he asked folks what made them power walk. Like, what is a reason that you're going to walk really, really fast? And he took 6 of the suggestions that he was given, and he incorporated them into the ride. And I actually ended up putting together a 5-minute video of just the 6 things that he said. And it's on the Club Husky Peloton fan page. Which was fantastic. And John said he absolutely loved it. But this one was, he did it was 6 energies, and he took different energies that would make people power walk. So from hurrying to get the ball in a bowling alley to carrying in the heavy shopping bags from the car, and they're breaking and you're trying to manage them all and walking really fast to get in. And his movements and his mannerisms are hysterical. To hearing the doorbell ring while you're in the shower and you got to go and open it because there's a package that needs to be signed for, and you're putting on your towel and running to do that. To power walking away from a bad date. And that was mine. And when Mark saw that, he goes, "How the hell would you know what it's like power walking? You've been married to me for 31 years. I said, yes, but I could just imagine, especially now that kids date, whatever, to think about sitting in front of somebody and you've got to get out of there and you frigging hightail it out of the restaurant or whatever. And he did it, and it was hysterical. So, absolutely amazing power walk. I just flew on that tread. Sometimes it's hard. I can't keep to the cues. I can't keep of what they're telling. So I try and do more. And then Jermaine Johnson's 20-minute Mother's Day walk. Oh my goodness, folks, if you haven't done it yet, do it. It was on the 27th. It dropped at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. I did it on demand later that morning, and it was beyond special. Jermaine's a pretty incredible guy, and he's very open about his upbringing and that he was brought up as by a single mom, and how his mom worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes, and he just called her out, and to the love that he has for his mother. Every guy should have for their mothers. It was amazing, and it was just heartfelt. And I was definitely teary. I was definitely teary doing it. And I messaged him afterwards and I said, I always like to kind of post myself, and I do a little monologue after a good workout. I said I couldn't do it because I was crying so much, just because it was pretty moving. So don't even remember the music, just really listened to him and kind of got through it. But it was amazing how he honored, as we all know, last Sunday was Mother's Day in the UK. So amazing. And then Krista McGee, I love this. She did a 10-minute acceptance meditation. It dropped on the 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern. And it was just a very special meditation. And you guys know I'm kind of obsessed with these meditations. I do so many of them. I love them. It has just grounded me. It's given me so much more understanding and meaning and purpose. And I love seeing so many of you taking my advice and doing them and then sharing them with me. So, thanks for doing that. And lastly, Hannah Corbin. Huge shout out to Hannah Corbin. You never hear me talk about Hannah. I don't work out with her often, but I got to tell you, her foam rolling stretching is beyond. She did a couple, as we told you guys, a year or two ago, and she just dropped a whole lot more last month, back in February. And I've done pretty much all of them now, but the one I'm going to shout out is the 20-minute foam rolling. It was a full body. It dropped on the 24th of February, a 10 a.m. class, and it is fantastic. So if you're tired of just doing, regular stretching and you have a foam roller, it should be in everybody's gym. I got to tell you, I've always had a foam roller, and it truly is fantastic. So if you haven't done any of those, I highly encourage you to do that. But specifically, that 20-minute full body was phenomenal. So those are mine, folks.
All right. Well, I just have a little trio. I'll get to mine because I know we have a lot of member picks that were submitted. But my first one, and I kind of slacked this week. I think the only thing I did on the tread this week was John's 30-minute power walk. It's almost like every other, like next week I'll probably go real hard, working out way too much every day, and then the following week I'll sort of dial it back. I don't know. Yeah. This week I just sort of took it easy, but Ben's 30-minute 80s rock ride from Monday the 28th. He was bringing the bangers on that one. Super fun ride if you have not done it. Cody's 60-minute pop ride from Saturday the 26th. I had mentioned it. It was previously labeled as a groove ride, and then somewhere in between our Pelo Buddy episodes, it shifted to being a pop ride. But it had been over 2 years since he's done a 60. I mean, he never does 60-minute rides, and it had been well over 2 years since he had last done one. But super fun ride, lots of funny Codyisms and funny bits in there, and just a great sweat. And then getting a little strength in, I did Jess Sims 30-minute full body bike boot camp from Monday the 28th. Hard class, but it's 30 minutes, so it went by super quick. Not a super grueling like her boot camps can be, that are 45 minutes or 60 minutes. So really, it went by quick. But I think there was just one floor section. But did that one live with Jackie, and we were both pretty gassed at the end. But those are my three.
That's awesome. Well, I will add, so your Cody 60-minute, actually a member had shared with Chris that was her pick of the week as well. So Dopamine Chaser. Yeah. Didn't say why, but had, and then a good friend of mine, Nicole Zag's fangirl, had actually sent to me. I think I forgot to send it to Chris, but she absolutely loved that 30-minute Ben rock ride. I've heard from a few people that was absolutely fantastic. So so they just wanted to kind of throw those in as well as member picks that folks liked. Yeah, and then we'll kind of go back and forth. Camilla Ramon. So she did a 30-minute EDM ride on the 26th. It dropped at 8 a.m. And what a member had said, and I want to make sure I get this right, an amazing playlist curated by our beloved DJ, John Michael. Camilla's programming and energy were fire. Fun, motivating, an energetic ride, and that was from Annie the Minx.
Annie the
Minx. Yep. And then from Wheel I Am, the playlist is everything you want. Makes you feel like you are out partying it up at Ultra down in Miami, and just the whole overall energy Camilla brings to the class. So that's fantastic, and I definitely want to try that one. It sounded like it got great reviews.
And then Lindsay T. Gamble, she submitted Allie Love's 30-minute feel-good ride from March 27th. She called it challenging and uplifting.
All right. And then Marcelle Dinkins, we spoke about her earlier. So she did a 45-minute 90s walk. It dropped on the 27th of March at 12 p.m. Eastern. I don't have the member who recommended, but the comment was great first class back after her marathon and nostalgic playlist. So that's awesome.
And then Daniel McKenna's, I had to scroll over to catch the leaderboard name. Daniel McKenna's 20-minute upper body strength from March 27th. This came from Spin Loving Mama, and her comment's kind of funny. She says, the pre-show was legendary in all caps. and it's a miracle he made it back from Selena's wedding. Also, as always, Daniel convinced me that I was stronger than I thought, and I used heavier heavies.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, I was surprised. I did see some stuff on there that he said, yeah, folks, I made it. I was there, but it was fun to see that. I can't believe he made it. That was pretty awesome. Good for him. And then from my good friend, Tara Caudle, 85, had gone ahead and recommended Rebecca Kennedy's 20-minute Women's History Month call. So it dropped on the 28th, so March 28th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And Tara had said to me that it was an absolutely brilliant core workout that she was going to keep bookmarked and go back to over and over. She actually, we were working out together this past week, and we had some time in between two classes. She said, come on, let's do a core. And she got me on a Selena core, and I thought I was going to die. I don't do core very often, and I think I need to. It was a note for me. All right, go on. Next up.
So Becs Gentry's 20-minute shadowboxing from the 28th came from Rihada. Her announcement was a total shock to me, but I was so happily surprised with her instruction in this modality. I adore her as a running coach, and I think she brings all her best traits as a coach to the ring as well.
Awesome. Christine de Urkel's 30-minute Women History Month reflection ride was actually recommended by two folks that dropped on the 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And Esful Nasso and Jules HF both had chosen that one as a pick of the week.
Yeah, and leaderboard name ehammer05 submitted Chelsea Jackson Roberts 10-minute focus flow forward folds from the 28th. She said it's a perfect stretch to Coldplay.
Oh, that's awesome. And Rock Run Ride had said that Rad Lopez's 45-minute boxing bootcamp. So these boxing bootcamps, you see, folks really like them. She said fun switch up to normal routine and great cardio workout. So that was from Rock Run Ride. And then also Jarlee 2776 had also recommended that as a pick of the week.
And Christine, switching back to Christine D'Ericol, her 45-minute low-impact ride from the 30th. That was submitted by Chicago-born. I know that jabroni. I've met him before at the studio. He says hard work, but not crushing. Perfect for 45 minutes during lunch.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And then, of course, lastly, the Robin Arzon and Kirsten Ferguson 30-minute Women's History Month. So many people have recommended it. It is bookmarked to be done this weekend. I can't wait to do it. It obviously dropped on Wednesday night, the 30th at 7 p.m. And the members that had chosen this one, Fitz Fly 21, Pelo Trimom, Camp Caitlin, Amy Molinaro, New York Curly Girl 17, Mrs. Zims, I Am Kimmy Ho, you know what?
Robin Rashbaum.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of Robin's. I didn't send it to Chris. Robin's leaderboard name. I think it's Ra something. She's
Robin Ra.
Robin Raw. Yep, Robin Raw. She's a good friend of mine. Robin Raw. She's lovely. And then Ashley 6504 had all recommended it. Some of the stuff that was said, I love that run because they are powerful women who just make you feel so special and give you all the feels like boss ladies should. They also explain that they are moms and that they get it, how life gets in the way, but you, and yeah, I have to figure out what it said there. But you need to make time for yourself as well. And that was from Fitzfly 21. And, it was actually kind of cool when Kirsten's workout was canceled on Thursday morning, she actually hopped on social and she said, I was so caught up in the moment of doing the run at the time that I'm going to jump on the treadmill and actually take it myself so that I can get the feels for it. She said, because obviously the adrenaline when you're doing it is so different. So, unfortunately, my timing didn't work. I would have loved to have been able to have done it with her on Thursday, but definitely on the cards for today. So so those were amazing picks of the week. Thank you everybody for submitting those. It's really nice to get some different different folks in there. And for those of you that have done Spanish workouts or German workouts, share those with us as well. Definitely share those as well so that we can add them in here, because I think it's it's important to get what other folks like. And I get that, that was one like with that Camilla Ramon. I mean, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do that EDM. I can't wait to do it. So I think that's awesome. Well, I guess, John, that wraps it all up. Yeah, I guess these picks of the week are taking up that extra time that we didn't have news for. So that worked out well. So folks, so great to be able to share all of this, information with you. And I know you see snippets of it on Chris's Instagram page, and of course on the web or on Facebook. But it's fun for John and I to share it with you with the highlights and our little bits that we add in.
Banter.
Because I know you guys all come for the banter. You're all here for the banter. But yeah. So come
for the news. The ad-free content and stay for the banter and the picks of the week.
I love that. Exactly. I love that, John. I think that needs to be our tagline. Come for the banter, come for the news, stay for the banter.
For the banter.
And of course, the picks of the week. All right, folks. Well, again, from me here, see you all on the leaderboard. Bye for now, everybody.
Yep. And from me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in, listening and watching us. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.